Doesn't matter. Y'all like cats? Yeah! Fuck yeah, I love cats too.
A lot of them.
Is that my 2 fucks for the panel?
Oh yeah, you got one.
I get 1?
Yeah, that was your one.
And you just used it.
I just used 3.
Oh.
Yeah. No, we
Fuck.
didn't hear the last 2, because you're
Okay.
It's alright, you took
No more
mine.
F words, guys. Okay, I use them all.
No fun. No more fun.
fine. No, you get one each. Y'all get one each.
We get one each?
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
fuck. Yeah, let's go.
So...
Wait!
Nah, okay.
I'm gonna save mine.
Save it, because also, just a quick question. How was Conquest so far? Like, did you guys get to do whatever you want? And also, how was the Philippines? Did you get to eat what you want?
I got to meet Mr. Jollibee not
Mr.
30 minutes ago. I have proof. We took so many photos.
We did.
He's so tall. His
We
arms are
hung
so
out.
big. He shook my hand and it nearly fell off. It was amazing.
But he gives really good hugs.
He gives really good hugs.
I've been living the Conquest experience since I got to Manila. It took me 4 hours to get to baggage claim, 4 hours to get to the hotel, 4 hours to use the bathroom, and then I forgot something, so it took me 4 hours to go back to the hotel. And then they just said, come back tomorrow.
Oh no! You poor baby. Thanks for making it in here, y'all. I know you had to wait in line, so thank you. I love you guys.
That was a lot of hours. Holy moly! But speaking of hours, we only have 1 hour, so you guys, can you line up and ask your questions immediately? Because I feel like a lot of people want to ask a lot of questions.
We're gonna be auditioning. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Wait.
We're gonna be auditioning you guys, so when you ask your question, we need you to act like a con attendee and ask
You're all
us
auditioning for Diluc.
That's right.
Diluc's
I'm
getting
tired of
his-
this shit. I don't want it anymore. I was like, I'm gonna eat when I get a break at my table, and now it's 4:30 and I still haven't eaten.
Aww.
No, it's okay, it's okay. Someone brought me Jollibee. It was
I'm
good.
so sorry you're
Yeah,
popular.
I looked over it every time. You looked back at me and you were like, you just made your face.
And then I threw my shoe at you.
That's right.
Like a little goblin. First question.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
Sean.
Hey.
I was at your booth yesterday. So
Yes,
you
I
signed-
remember you.
Yeah, you signed my copy of Zelda.
That's right.
Yeah. So my question is, how do you for all 3 of you, how do you transition to different characters with regards to your voice acting? I mean, just for Sean, you have Rivali, Teba, and the Deco Tree, and then with Barbara and Xinyan, and then with Khoi, Albedo, and Murata from Demon Slayer. How do you transition, with regards to your voice acting? Because there you have different personalities, right? So that's how, I'm just asking how. How do you do that?
Well, luckily,
Acting.
we don't have to play them all at the same time.
Yeah.
But when it comes to character creation, in your voice and stuff, it's really you have so many different tools available, from learning about their personalities and knowing how old they are, how young they are, or what they're afraid of. All of those things kind of build up together for you to make good choices, strong choices for each character. It's not just about where you put your voice, just because it's up here and just because it's down here. That's not the only thing. There's so much more, and so there are some characters that I play that have pretty much the exact same voice, but because they're very differently designed, they're really different characters, I can still transition between them, and it can still they can still all have their very own personality and uniqueness, right? So that's it, I guess. What about you?
Go ahead. Do you want to go ahead?
No, well let's
Let me cook.
No,
You sure?
let's go in a more procedural manner, or else my brain's gonna
That's
explode.
fine.
Yeah.
You'll probably hear this repeated a lot, but that's why it's important that it's acting rather than just doing a voice. Because sure, we can change our voice and make it higher or lower, but if we're reading it the same way here versus if we're reading it the same way here versus if we're reading it the same way here, it doesn't sound any different. It just sounds like the same character. So a lot of it is about, whether we get into the physicality of it or whether we get into the contextual aspect of it. We're figuring out why the character is the way that they is. So why the character is the way that they are. So to use the example that you brought up of Rivali and Teba, it's not just about Rivali being higher pitched. It's, who is he as a character? He kind of croons, he kind of sticks his neck out, he turns his neck up, and you can already hear just from the way that I'm moving that it's kind of of tightening my throat, causing it to be a little bit higher pitched, a little bit more nasal, versus Teba, who's a lot more concerned about his family. You know, he's down here. And the Great Deku Tree.
I want to do that too.
Now, here's one that's legit. Normally, I'm very high strung. I'm like a golden retriever that just found weed, okay? So, that's like the exact opposite of what would make them high strung. But, so my body's usually very tense, very tight, and that causes my voice to go up. I'm naturally high pitched. In order to voice the Great Deku Tree, I have to relax my body and breathe, because if I don't open up my diaphragm, I can't get all the way down here. And for Mishima, I have to punch myself in the balls until it gets up there. So it's just about understanding how these characters move, how they act, how they think, you know, their mannerisms, their quirks, their physicalities, and it all comes together. It gets easier the more often that you do it, but that's how we explore different moods and different bodies in the booth.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
Wow, you done? All right. It's actually really simple. When we think about acting versus real life, acting being a reflection of real life, we tend to think about characters in terms of archetypes. So, for example, the archetypes that I play a lot, there's a really edgy guy, all right? And then there's a really hyper guy. The difference between being like, I don't know, I'm going to shit myself. I'm going to shit myself! I, as a person, in one day, in real life, will oscillate between those two things. I'm sure a lot of you are introverts because you like anime and you're at an anime convention, right? Because you're fucking nerds. Do you ever find yourself putting on different personalities for different people depending on who you talk to? There's the way you talk to your friend, and then there's the way you talk to the Starbucks barista. We all have masks that we put on. As human beings, we're every single color of the rainbow every single day. We can't avoid that. So it really isn't that alien of an exercise to switch between one mask to another. We do it all the time, and you do it all the time as well. It's just a different manifestation when we're in the booth.
Wow, that's a good point. You're good at this.
He's very committed. He will actually shit himself as part of it.
I will shit myself.
Baby, please don't do that.
I can tell when he's been in the booth before me.
Having shat myself.
I take the biggest whiff ever. I'm in the presence of greatness.
I am known by the studio carpets as he who shits himself. But thank you very much for your question.
Hello, so my question is related to voice acting as well, but more of in a Genshin context, but I guess you guys can apply it to all of your characters. But I'm sure the developers and designers have a specific plan or design that they want you guys to portray your chosen characters. But I was wondering if for like Diluc, Xinyan, Barber, and Albedo, was there any personal characterization that came from you guys? A personal touch maybe that you added to your character?
I think adding a personal touch is almost unavoidable. And you can hear that, especially with Albedo across the different languages. Each Albedo gives off a different vibe, is what I've been told. The Korean Albedo is really deep and daddy. And the Chinese Albedo is a little lighter and really matter of fact. I haven't listened to the Japanese Albedo out of fear. I feel like he's gonna do things to me. But my interpretation of Albedo, I think, is very different than the way the other language voice actors interpreted it. And this is true of every single character that's sort of really straightforward and scientific. People think that the way to achieve that characterization is just by flattening out, taking out all the music in your reads, but it's really about turning down the volume at which you feel things. That was my interpretation, and that's typically how I play that type of character. So, because those of you who know Albedo's story, right? Spoiler alert, he's not human. He was made in a test tube. He's a test tube baby. Yeah. What? You've had 2 years. All right? Albedo's not human, and Snape kills Dumbledore. Oh, boo-hoo.
I'm pretty sure J.K. Rowling killed Dumbledore and then everyone else.
Oh, J.K. Rowling fucking shit on the whole series. What was I saying? I totally forgot. Oh yeah. What was I saying?
You turned down the volume on the way that
Right,
you feel
right.
it.
So that's my interpretation of the character. It really is an unavoidable thing to put your own personal touch on because you can only speak from your own human experience.
It's a collaborative process, you know, it's not just me as the talent telling them here's how I'm going to do it. It is, you know, the wishes of the client, you know, any input from the director, my own interpretation of the character. So very often what will happen is they'll say, ooh, you know, I'm getting this vibe from the character, I kind of want to try this. And let's say, shut up, that's not your job, just read the lines. Does that happen to you?
I've directed you actually.
Oh, it was you who said that?
Yeah.
You were like, just get out, I'm going to do it myself.
Actually, the great thing about Sean, I would call Sean a self-driving car. Having directed him, Sean speaks with incredibly good diction, and he makes very interesting choices all of the time. It really is a matter of how well you vibe between how good the vibe is between the actor and the director, right? I really like the choices that Sean makes. So every session that I had with him on Kuriko's Basketball, you guys have seen that one? Hell yeah, he plays, what is it, Taco?
Yeah.
Takao, yeah.
Is that why
Are
I
you
kept
hungry?
hearing like Halo multiplayer noises in your on your mic every time I recorded? I would just be like, "How was that?" And you're like, "You're doing great.
You're doing, yeah.
Just do another take."
Yeah. I had to pay very little attention to him because he's a self-parking car.
I parked sideways in a
yeah.
vertical space. But to answer seriously, so it is in between. You know, to get into Diluc, he's very quiet, kind of mannered. You know, people think he's like the Batman or like the very powerful character, but the way that I see it is he's introverted. You know, he sees himself almost as the Watcher of Mondstadt, where he, you know, you guys know how like some of the really good stories about Superman aren't about how powerful he is; it's how dangerous he is because he's so powerful. And so if you look at Diluc in that light, it's like, oh, he's so strong compared to everyone else in Mondstadt that he almost feels like he shouldn't get involved unless he absolutely has to. So that's why he puts so much faith in, you know, the Traveler and other people to be like, hey, let me know if I need to step in, but I'm relying on you to just kind of make sure things are okay because I don't want to stick out too much. I don't want to be that awkward person. And I identify with that, you know, I like to be social, I want to make friends, but I also don't want to annoy people or scare them off or intimidate them, and I find a lot of familiarity in that. So it's often at times about finding the things that ring true with us, and that's what makes these characters human and makes it possible for you guys to get attached to them as an audience.
Yeah, as you all know, Barbara is actually considered the Batman of Mondstadt. But I want to touch on what Sean was just saying, like finding the truth of the matter. Acting, one of my teachers would always say, and it always kind of rang for me, was acting is finding truth in imaginary circumstances, right? And so when we're you know, playing these characters, and it's very often we're adapting a role that's already been originated in another language. We have to find a way to make these characters ring true for us, because if we don't feel like we're telling the truth when we're acting, you're not going to believe us, right? So there's a little tiny bit of myself, or more than a little bit, there's quite a bit of myself in every role that I play. That's kind of one of my favorite things about getting to play both Barbara and Xinyan, because I feel very true to each of those characters. With Barbara, she so much wants to make sure that everyone is happy, everybody's been served, everybody feels good. When they're in her presence, she wants to serve. And she's sort of almost too much of a people pleaser, but at the same time, she's really introverted and kind of drawn back, and she needs those moments of quiet to herself because she gets overwhelmed. And I feel that. Thank you. And then on the other side, there are some things about Xinyan that I aspire to, because she has this beautiful way of being so true to herself no matter what other people think of her. She's a little silly and goofy. A lot of her storylines are pretty fluffy and fun. Not really we don't dig too deep there, but at the same time, she's so unapologetically Xinyan. And then even when people come and criticize or say you look funny, or why do you act the way you do, or why do you sing the things you sing, and her answer is, because that's just who I am, and that's good for me, and if you like it, great, and if you don't, that's okay too, but I like me. And I was like, that's so cool. Right? So finding those little bits and pieces of me reflected in these characters is a really helpful tool when I go through performance, right? So
That's why so many of us like Zhang Li, because he's broke. It's like that vine of, I'm like that.
Did that make sense? Yay! Thank you for your question.
Thank you so much.
Is that why furries like Albedo, because he's not human?
Whoa. Listen.
Well, we found all the furries.
Ooh.
Hello guys.
Hey, what's up?
My question is for the three of you guys. So if you have to live on an island with only one person, which Genshin character would you choose and why? Except for the characters you are playing.
Except for the what?
Except for the characters you're
Oh,
playing.
that sucks, because Albedo literally can make stuff appear by drawing them.
I pick Albedo.
Yeah, you really effed me in the egg there.
Paimon, because you can actually, you can surprisingly entertain yourself for a long time by punting a football around.
And then you always have a snack nearby.
With the wings, like the glide distance, it would be incredible.
I mean, yeah, that's good.
I'm thinking about Razor because he has survival skills, but he also smells like shit.
I want to dress her up like a seagull and just throw her off the top of a palm tree.
He said with love and affection in his heart, I'm sure.
No, with vicious intent.
All right, never mind. Thank you for your question.
Hi. So, totally unexpected, but Genshin related. Wait, what was? Sorry. Let me just.
Happens to me too,
Let me
it's
just
all
gather
good.
my thoughts.
I think that's how dogs spend their whole lives.
Okay, so is there any bit of lore in Genshin, whether it's in the main quest or as a side story, that you personally resonate with? It doesn't necessarily have to do anything with the character that you play. No, sorry. Like it doesn't. It's like, is there any storyline in Genshin that you resonate with? That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with with the character you play, just a story that you resonate with.
Is it okay if it does have to do with the character that I play?
So do you guys remember Barbara's hangout?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, cool.
I don't.
That's okay, Sean. I'm not worried about it. So remember Albert?
Yeah.
The special guy. I know. It was just as I was, growing into Barbara and getting to know her and getting to know all like the Genshin community and things. Sometimes there are moments that are a little bit intense. I'm sure you all remember the patch that happened very early on when there was a little tweak to some of the lines that I said, and people had a lot of feelings about that, which I can't, just so you know before you ask the question, I cannot fully speak to. That is all mihoyo business. I love you. Anyway, but when that was going on, there was a lot of attention, and some of it was positive and a lot of it was negative, and it was a little difficult and it felt a bit overwhelming. And the attention that Barbara was receiving from Albert was also very overwhelming. But there was this desire from her to not hurt feelings, but also create healthy boundaries for herself because she needed them. And I was like, I need to learn to do that.
Aww.
That's a good idea. Oh, don't be sad. I'm okay now. But that was very important to me. And the way that we were portraying that particular, what somebody asked before about like, is there any, do you help with like the adaptation or like, is there a little bit of you and your input when you're doing things, especially like in Genshin? And in that particular scenario, we worked all together, the client and the director and myself, to make sure that we portrayed that situation as delicately as possible and weren't necessarily advocating for intrusive behavior while also allowing for the story to be the light and fun adventure that it was meant to be. So we really tried to walk that line as narrowly as we could. But I think we pulled it off pretty well. But that was something that was really important to me. Thank you for asking. Somebody else answer the question, please.
I'm sure I would have a very long and detailed answer if I've ever played more than 0 minutes of Genshin Impact. So I will simply say Vinelissa Fest was a really, really nice event because we finally see the cracks in Diluc's armor. The soft, pulpy pink insides are slowly starting to come out. Let's beat the shit out of them. I'll defer over to Khoi.
So, like Laura, I think I can speak most authentically about Albedo's experience, having not played as much Genshin as I would like to. But as some of you may know, Albedo's whole shtick is that he was created under artificial circumstances, and he spends a lot of his time being the outsider looking in to the human experience, endeavoring to be one of the people of Mondstadt. And with each event that we see him appear in, it seems like he's gaining more and more humanity. He's finally making friends, connecting with people, learning what it means to be part of a community. And as someone with a perpetual immigrant experience, right? I was born in Vietnam. I spent about 2 years there before I moved to France, and then I spent 5 years in Geneva, Switzerland, and then 7 years in Singapore. And then my mom married an American, so we went to America, and that's where I've been ever since. My social circle has experienced reset after reset after reset, and with that has come many very large paradigm shifts in my social culture. So I found myself constantly having to reach out again and make new bonds with people, and after a while that gets really, really tiring to the point that you kind of just want to withdraw, right? Like, I'm good with just me. And I think when we meet Albedo for the first time, one of the lines that he says is, human relationships really are troublesome. That was in fact one of the audition lines that I zeroed in on, and I think that's the one that got me the role. That's been my journey throughout this life for a very long time. But I'm very happy to say, in step with Albedo, I've recently managed to make some progress in connecting with new people, like you guys, for example. So yeah, I am.
Right?
Yeah, her too. You too. Yeah. It's been a delightful reflection of my own evolution and experience as a person. Yeah, thank you very much for your question.
Thank you. And I really like your outfit. You look so pretty.
Hello, it's good. It's nice to meet you guys. My question is a bit of a lighthearted one. I know Khoi has been talking about Jollibee ever since you were announced for
I don't know what you're
Conquest.
talking about.
And my question is, do you have any maybe favorite Jollibee dish so far that you have tried, or maybe any Filipino dish that you like?
Mango peach pie. Mango peach pie. Mango peach pie. Sorry, hi. Okay, go ahead.
The answer is all of them. And I know that's a cop-out, except that it's not, because it really is all good. I don't know what the people do with the protein here. It is amazing. The chickenjoy, perfection. I'm a dark meat fan myself, but I don't know how you guys deep fry something and keep the moisture. It's hella technique for me. The yum burger is so conveniently delicious. It's so simple. A really, really delightful sauce with just a patty. That's really all you need.
Khoi,
What's so funny?
have you literally stepped outside? That's deep frying while keeping the moisture.
What?
It's the weather in the Philippines.
Oh yeah, that's the Filipino people. You're
We are
crispy
all
and
Jolly
moist.
Bees on the outside. Every time I walk, the inside of my thighs crunches.
That's gross.
That's just being over 30.
That's just not moisturizing.
You need to shower and get some lotion.
I shit
please.
myself to keep cool.
That doesn't cool you down.
If somebody
tried
doesn't
it?
tweet that he said that, somebody quote that shit right now. On Chiplock, I shit myself to keep
Oh, it'll be
cool.
on TikTok.
That's so
within the
stupid.
hour.
Freshly shat shit is really warm. It came out of you.
That's a great vocal warm-up, by
Yeah.
the way.
I would love to
Freshly
talk.
shat shit.
Freshly shat shit.
Freshly shat shit.
Please, for the love of God, can we talk about something else?
Also, wicked piss. No, okay, so what are the little fried fish? Are they tupo? Or what is it
fish.
called? Kyo? Tuyo. Yeah, so apparently you're only supposed to have like 2 to 5 of those. And that's great, because I've had 2 to 5 dozen plates.
I've seen him
They're
at
so
breakfast.
good.
Every time I see him at breakfast, he's got a whole plate of those fish.
Anytime a fan is overstaying their welcome at my table, I just like lean forward and breathe on them and then have them taken out on a stretcher. It's great.
I don't know what y'all put in that vinegar though. It's good.
It's so yummy. I could drink it.
It's the sweat of the workers at Jollibee's.
Nice.
Good night, everybody.
It's Mr. Jollibee's juice himself.
It's the Jolly B.O.
It says Jollibees.
Thank
you for your question.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. They're sorry.
I'm not sorry.
Get the Primo Gem. Hi.
I feel conspiring.
If you ask them a question, that counts as your question. You have to sit back down.
That's not true.
Wait. Okay, hi. So, please don't mind my costume right now. So, can I make like a request?
Sure, it depends on the request.
Okay, so like I have a friend. His name is Alex, and he's a really big fan of Albedo and Diluc. He sims for both of them.
We can't make out, I'm sorry.
Oh my God!
What? Not for free, anyway.
Oh. Okay, so like, can I make a request? Can you say hi, Alex and Yuxi, in the character voice, in the voices you guys in the characters you guys voices.
What was your request? I'm sorry?
To say something to Alex in our characters' voices.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you
Hi.
say Alex and Yuxi? Hi, Alex and Yuxi.
Alex and who?
Yuxi.
Yuxi?
Yes.
Hello, Alex and Yuxi. I wrote your names on Kaya's face while he was sleeping. He still hasn't figured it out.
The other name is Yuxi? Alright. Hello, Alex and Yuxi. You both carry the aura of the stars. Alex a little more than Yuxi, though. I'd like to study you both, if you don't mind. I do have 2 hands.
I'm right here.
What? Listen, it's the Conquest wish fulfillment hour.
Amazing.
Xinyan!
Was that requested?
They demand food, Seymour.
Feed them, Seymour.
Hi, Conquest. It's so wonderful to see all of you. Hopefully, we can spend a little more time together.
Did we do it? We did.
Did we do the thing? Okay.
Come on, traveler. So good to see you.
You should really bring the Knights of Pavonius with you next time. This is great. We can just say things we already said and they just go freaking wild. Burn.
Next question.
Hi. It's not really a question. It's more of like words of appreciation.
Oh,
So, basically, back in 2021, it was a pandemic, right?
That was a year?
Basically, we were in really bad lockdown, and I wasn't able to see my friends for a very long time. And so I started playing Genshin, and with that, I was able to co-op with my friends, and I just want to say some words of appreciation towards you guys as well, because you were basically the words of, you were the voice of comfort for me during the pandemic. It's and I can't believe it, because now, even though we've had a rough day today, me and my friends are actually here seeing you live in person.
Oh yeah, what's up, you and your friends?
You're missing your dailies. Everyone go, we're good, we're okay.
They did them while they were standing in line. Are you kidding me?
So yeah, I just wanted to say those in gratitude to towards your work and appreciation for the whole game as well.
Thank you so much.
I think it's beautiful that video games can bridge distances that we otherwise may have across each other. It's so cool.
Thank you.
Hello, first I want to say thank you for coming here in Manila. I hope you really had a great day, even though it's so hot in here in Philippines.
That's because you're here, baby.
Thank you, you too, three of you.
You pandering piece of shit.
I'm very lonely.
So my question is, which character you struggled the most to voice of all the characters you voiced for the game?
It doesn't have to be specific to Genshin?
Not really specific, any character.
Okay.
Diluc. I was recently informed that I voiced Diluc. Did you just call me daddy?
This is not an 18+ panel. Come on. Okay.
No.
You can call me daddy too.
Okay, well, no. There's a professional one, and then there's one that went kind of viral, and I'm scared to bring it up because I did nothing wrong, but it was viral for a second. So the professional one that was really hard for me was Rivali, because he's an asshole. Okay, because when at the time when we first started recording for him, I didn't know as much about him as I did back or as I do now, so I didn't understand his motivations as much. There was a lot that we learned during the original DLC for Breath of the Wild that explained so much that I didn't know at the time that we were recording the main game. And I got so frustrated over trying to nail down what they were asking for, and I was so convinced that I was on the edge of being recast that I broke down and cried during a break. Because it was a mix between the professionalism of I want to do a good job and the personal aspect of I really am fucking addicted. I'm sorry, I stole your F. I'm really addicted to this bird and I want to do a good job and I know that I can give him a good performance. But it was a really important lesson because it was a lesson getting out of your own head and being hey, if you don't know what you're doing, that's what the director is there for. Just give them the reins and let them guide you. When you're ready to take them back, then you can go ahead and do that. It was a really important lesson for me. On the other hand, we often do voices for NPCs and other characters, and we don't necessarily know what they're being used for. And there's kind of a famous thing where I did a bunch of NPC voices for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Any of you who watch my stream know where this is going. So, I was one of Cornello's thugs, so, some of you know! Alright, so I do a kind of typical gangster voice, we were waiting for you, thinking it's gonna be this kind of shady, greased hair guy. Anyway, they turned me into a huge black guy. Literally, just this whole, big muscled man standing in the room going, we were waiting for you, And I am all for representation in games, so seeing that I was oh no. No. But people are good sports about it.
Luckily, I've never accidentally voiced a black guy.
Well, I got two quick little stories. There's one, I don't know if anybody has ever seen Carol and Tuesday. So in Carol and Tuesday, I play a character, I think her name, is it Bella? Golly. This was one of the tougher characters I'd ever played because she was in fact kind of a stalker. She was a little abusive and like manipulative to the lead character, and that was really hard for me because it's number one, it's something I've had to deal with myself, and number two, like I don't want to be mean. I don't like that. So I was like, oh gosh, and like I had said earlier, like acting is finding truth in imaginary circumstances. So I can't approach a character and immediately judge this person and hate them. It's really difficult to dislike a character you're supposed to be playing because that does seep through, and it's going to affect the performance. So I had to try to walk in with like, at the very least, a neutral heart, and then at some point try to find why she was behaving this way and what she was feeling and her reasoning behind it. And because to her, everything she was doing was justified. And so that was really difficult for me to navigate, on top of the fact that she was sort of coded to be a member of the LGBTQ community. And it's really important to me to see, number one, representation in that direction, and number two, positive representation in that direction. And this was an antagonist on top of it. So it was a very difficult thing for me to go through at that time. But we made it. And then the other character I want to say, I don't know if anybody has seen on Netflix Vinland Saga. Yeah, so I play young Thornfinn in the English. He goes through some shit. Oh, that was rough. It was really funny because the first day that I walked in for that character, I thought it was just going to be like a one and done because it was the young version of somebody, and usually that's just a flashback and you're finished. But he has the first seven episodes to do before we transition into older Thornfinn. And when I walked in, the director said, "Ha, we are going to traumatize you." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "We're going to ruin your life. Come on in, it'll be fun." And it was quite the journey, but we made it through that too. I hopefully am stronger for both of those particular experiences. Thank you for your question.
Acting is easy, I've never struggled. But from a non-acting perspective, I can tell you that every single Albedo session is particularly difficult just because I know how many eyes are on this project, and I desperately want to do a good job. And that desire to do well does interfere with your ability to access appropriate character headspace while you're recording. So yeah, that would be my answer to that. But thank you very much for your question.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. And my question is, how does would you please describe the feeling of hearing your characters for the first time once they debut on their games, or particularly in Genshin Impact when they especially for Khoi when Albedo debuted and you hear him for the first time, and Laura when Xinyan was released, and how was the feeling? How can you describe that feeling of hearing them for the first time after the long hours you input on the recording?
I think I can speak for a lot of voice actors who are in our age group, because I think we gravitated towards this profession because we're fans and we appreciate the media and we appreciate the art. For me personally, that magical feeling of hearing your voice come out of an anime character's mouth is never gonna go away. It's always like, that's me. It's just really fucking cool to see that happening.
He took my fuck.
Yeah, I did. Took all of your fucks. And yours, and yours, and yours, and yours, and yours.
Check under your chairs. There's a surprise. Nothing!
I wish I had a more elegant answer for you, but honestly, it's as simple as that. It's just really cool. It's like, wow, that's me. That's it.
I always think the same 8 words every time I hear myself for the first time in a project, and it's, man, I hope I didn't screw this up.
Because you're a bitch. You're great. You're fine.
Only for you, baby. All right. And that one girl I talked to earlier. I share. It's like a timeshare. it's invigorating. You know, I've often said that you have to have passion for this kind of industry, because between the lack of feedback on auditions and the cost of workshops and the constant sense of competition that never goes away, the imposter syndrome that never goes away, it just comes and goes in waves. It's debilitating at times, and there has to be this pure enjoyment of the art of creating to weather all of those tides. The fact that as painful as it gets, as stressful as it gets, for all the time that we spend laboring over auditions going, man, this is so stressful, but it's so damn fun. It's so fun to create, to see these things come to life, to do things that are either impossible or highly illegal to do in real life, and get paid to do it at the same time. It's something else. So that's what keeps me going.
Well, for me, especially when I first started, hearing myself played back to me was so cringe. I was like, oh gosh, this is what I sound like.
My old job used to do that
cringe.
to get.
What?
Yeah, you're pretty cringe.
My old job. One of my old jobs I worked also was a casting studio. I was like doing QA, and if I took too long to leave the office because they didn't do overtime, they'd start playing my auditions through the entire office.
Oh my gosh. It's so
They were awful.
Oh gosh, it's so.
I want to drive by your house and do that.
I've gotten used to it a little bit more, and it's starting to kind of dawn on me, and it is a beautiful feeling. It's really exciting, because I'm so grateful. Like, not a lot of people get to do the things that we get to do, and I understand that it's also a dream of so many, and for that I am supremely grateful. In regards to like Genshin Impact though, when the game first came out, I had no fucking idea it was gonna be.
You can't say that word, actually. You can't
She can say idea. Shut up.
I had no clue how big it was. None of us had any idea how big it was going to be when we first auditioned for it. It was just, here's an audition for a mobile game, have fun, okay.
I was scared I was going to get sued because I worked on Breath of the Wild and it looked so similar.
Right, but like, so when the game first came out, because I wasn't even thinking about downloading it, because I thought it was just going to be a thing on my phone or whatever. I wasn't going to even announce the characters when they came out, but they did their little announcement, and I thought, oh, I'll just retweet it, it's fine. And so that feeling that we're talking about, instead of it being a big rush of like, oh my gosh, it's here, amazing, it sort of crept up on me. Because first I thought, I was like, okay, it's another role I did, and that's going to be done, and I'm guessing that nobody on the planet is going to ever hear about it. But then it happened. And I realized, and I started to really come to grips with the fact that it was becoming this crazy like community and movement, and like, I realized I was a part of that.
To give you guys an idea of how unexpected it was, the last time I felt that way was when I went, man, that was a fun little niche murder mystery. What was it called? Danganronpa or something like that? No one's ever gonna talk about it.
You really, when you're in this industry, you really have no idea what is gonna pop off and what nobody is ever gonna hear about ever. You know, it's really just a luck of the draw. There are roles that we play that we're like, oh, I really love this character, and you'll never even know what it is. And there are other roles where we're like, that was fine. That took about 45 minutes, and people will come up to you and wait in line for hours and be like, I loved this thing. And I'm like, really? Because I forgot I did it. You just never know. But that was a really magical experience, and one I'll never forget or ever stop being grateful for. Thank you for asking.
I'm still waiting for the day someone comes up and goes, when you gave me the safety spiel at Tokyo Disneyland, I just knew. That was my favorite.
Hey, what's your question?
Good evening. My question is, what was your favorite Genshin line, and is there a funny and memorable moment while recording it?
You mean the live streams?
No, the voice lines.
Oh, a favorite voice line?
Yeah.
All right, you go first, because I can think of mine.
I really loved when I got to do "Come into Being." I didn't get to do that.
It's actually not a Diluc line. Oh, do you want to go ahead?
No, you go.
Welcome everyone! Come and join the Adventurers Guild!
He's a great character, but he's so rough on my throat that when I look at the script and it's like 40 lines of him for a session, I go, oh, god damn it.
You know, it's like, I think it was more like an after the fact kind of thing. Because when I did the line at the time, I thought, oh, that's kind of cute. But now I cannot go anywhere without hearing, when will I be as tall as my big sister? And now that's like, it follows me everywhere, and it's my own little friend.
So here's the thing about Albedo, is that he's boring as fuck. No, well, okay, no. I mean, like, the thing, he's such a nerd, right? It's like, oh, hey, how are you? Cool, yeah, me too. Good afternoon. Lovely weather we're having. I'm, you know how the characters have like this bank of voice lines that they can say, right? Like a good morning, good evening, we're just hanging out after a meal, what are your hobbies? And every single one of them are just so banal. But every once in a while, he says something so out of left field and weird. Like, I'm skimming through these, and I'm like, wait a minute. He eats spiders? What is this about spider eating? There's a really, really long one where he at length describes where this giant spider lives and how you cook it and how delightful it is. So every single opportunity to be weird with Albedo is one that I seize and treasure. You guys know the teapot lines? Yeah. Oh my gosh. You will not believe me how many times Chris, the director, had to tell me to make them less spicy. Just cause. For example, what is it? Something like, oh, you're going to bed already? Awesome, cool. You don't need me to read you a bedtime story. Do you?
That's what normal people say.
Really? Who are you hanging out with?
You know how like you can turn a rabbit upside down and it goes like comatose like immediately or something like that?
Who are you hanging out with?
I feel like that's Albedo with like modded Minecraft. Like you could just put him in front of a computer with like headphones and Minecraft and he would just be good to go for 12 hours straight.
Yeah, just put an iPad down in front of him and you're fine.
Put him on like Caillou, like an infinite loop, and he's good to go.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Johnny, yes, Papa.
Okay, hi. So my friends wanted to ask, what would be a good theme song for your life?
A good theme song for our lives? Baby shark, baby shark. What?
Everyone else has more sex than me? Uh-oh. No, you're all too young to understand that song. It's 55?
Oh my god. No. Okay. I don't know. Does that count? Is that a song? Okay. That's in my head constantly 24/7.
In all seriousness, the Maxwell song. Like that, you know that song goes da 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 da. It's like my two brain cells just going back and forth in my brain.
So the whitest thing about me, a Southeast Asian, the whitest thing about me is that I'm a fan of AJR, the band. I don't know how many of you know the band. They did a collaboration with Weezer. What was it called? The one that goes, all my favorite songs are slow and sad. All my favorite people make me mad, so mad.
Keep singing, don't stop.
Everything that feels so good is bad, 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 something like that. It's about how frustrating everything is, despite how good it feels. It's about how everyone sucks, but you love them anyway, and vice versa.
I love you too, baby.
I love you. You're great. Except for you, you're perfect. Yeah, I think it's a good reflection of the tumultuous nature of the world that we live in.
I like that. That's a better answer.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
In all seriousness, Khoi, a good opposite song to that. Did you watch Bleach back when it aired?
Yeah.
There's the second ending theme was called "Thank You," and it was by Homemade Kazuku, and that whole song is about just being grateful for friends and like you know, the weather outside and like people, you know, being there to support them. So like, you should listen to that.
That sounds dumb as hell, but thank you.
Okay. I sang it once for an English language arts class project and I got made fun of, so.
Good. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, buddy.
We have like 10 minutes, so we should lightning round these.
Alright, lightning round.
So, I have a question. So, if you could voice another character from Genshin, aside from the character that you play, who would it be and why?
All of them, all the rest of them. All the characters that are in that height category that Albedo is in. You know how the Genshin characters are like short guy, little baby, and tall daddy? Yeah. All the short guys. I want to be Xiao so bad. Listen, Xiao's an edgy little Asian boy. I'm an edgy little Asian boy. It's freaking perfect. Lament. Evil conquer. Yeah.
When I first did research on Diluc, the website I looked up had an error or it glitched and it fused his bio with razors. So for a while I thought Diluc was like a forest gremlin who liked to slaughter people. So I would want to be Razor, yeah.
I want to be Timmy.
My birds. Stop killing my birds.
That's exactly how I would do it too.
Oh.
Thank you. Next question.
How do you rebuild your self-esteem when work-related hardships or rejection threaten your self-confidence? You always say don't be hard on yourself, but how can you deal with external negativity within a professional environment?
Is this like your college thesis project or something? I'm not doing your homework for you.
Well, no, I do want to kind of speak to that because that's true and it's very real and it's really difficult, especially. Is anybody here an aspiring actor, voice actor, artist, freelancer?
Is anyone else here depressed?
Depressed, like there's things.
There you go. You're all artists.
It's difficult, like with just life in general. It's really difficult and it's easy to get down on yourself if you feel like you're not making the progress you feel like you should be making in school or wherever you are, what you're doing. My advice to that, because a lot of people do say, oh, just buck up, don't be so mean to yourself. Feel the feelings. They're gonna happen anyway. You're gonna have days where you just don't feel good. You're gonna have days where you don't wanna get up. You're gonna have days where you feel like you wanna give up. Feel those feelings. Allow yourself to do that, because the more that you try to shove them down, you wanna push them under the table, you wanna brush them aside, or you wanna feel guilty about feeling that way, the longer that those feelings are gonna persist. So instead, give yourself the time. Feel bad that day. Feel gross that day. Comfort yourself. Eat something that tastes good. Go outside if you can. Or congratulate yourself just for getting out of bed that day because you made it out of bed. That's an important step. It's a big deal. You're gonna feel bad sometimes, and that's okay for you to do, and does not make you a bad person. Just remember that feelings, every single one of them, from the best feelings in the world to the worst moment of your life, it's temporary. And it will stop and it will change. And all you gotta do is weather the storm for a minute, okay?
One of the scariest but most true things I learned from playing MOBAs and like online multiplayer games is that no matter how grown up we think we want to be or have become, we are all goddamn children. We're all children. We're all scared of keeping up with everyone else. We're all afraid of knowing what our purpose is. We're all scared of being efficient and helpful and being reliable and everything else and not screwing up. And oh my God, no matter how close I am with someone, if I screw up one time, they're gonna think of me differently the rest of my life and they're not gonna wanna hang out with me anymore. And it's terrifying. It's all terrifying. And we're always worried of falling behind. And that's the moment you realize that all of us are like that, things become a lot easier because ultimately doesn't matter how skilled you are at something or how perfect you are at something or how consistent you are at something. If you're just a good person, if you're nice to be around, if you look after others, if you're someone who's just tries to be good and find good and do good and share good, you'll find that people want to support you and want to help you and want to be around you. And the folks who don't aren't worth your time. So I'm not perfect. I've screwed up probably more than these three combined, especially you.
It's true. It's true. I actually have a bit more of a mathematical approach to all of this, right? My first time booking a job and being behind the mic, you're so grateful. You're flabbergasted. You're like, oh my God, how the hell did I get here? How did I trick all these people to let me in here? And then you start doing this for a while. Maybe you're on the other side of the glass. You're directing people. You're writing. You see how other people perform, and then you go, wait a minute, how the hell did the rest of you get here? You guys suck. This brings me to my point. Imposter syndrome, there is no logical basis for imposter syndrome. If you're sitting there one day wondering, man, am I just an incompetent butt? Yes, you are. You are an incompetent butt. But guess what? So is everybody else. Everybody has no idea what they're doing. Everybody is reaching around in the dark. You're not special, and that's amazing. That's the best thing. You are just as incompetent as everybody else. No one is an imposter because everybody is an imposter.
You're all sus, Beto.
We are all
That's
sus.
right. The feeling is shared among us.
Listen, if you're an aspiring voice actor, yes, it is an uphill battle, but so is everything else. It's hard to become a lawyer, it's hard to become a teacher, it's hard to become a truck driver, it's hard to become a hawker runner. Just pick a hill and run at it.
You're saying die on it.
No. And we have like 4 minutes left, so let's lightning round.
Yeah.
Hi, this is actually a request since I couldn't really think of a question. So, is it okay if you guys tell a joke while using your Genshin Impact character voice?
It's Sino time.
Thinking I'll ever be friends with Kaya. I've seen what you've written. Shut up. Be funny. I'm sorry.
Why did the chicken cross the road? Well, actually, the premise of the question is quite flawed. I don't think that chickens have any intention when moving about. I don't think they have the ability, the cerebral capacity to perceive what a road is.
This is my favorite joke for Pride Month. How does the non-binary samurai kill enemies?
They slash them!
Yeah!
Yeah!
Wait, did you hear the other one? Why are there so many non-binary people during the gold rush?
Why?
Because there's gold in them there hills. Wow, come on!
Every joke I've ever heard has suddenly left my brain. I don't know nothing.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Next question. We have 3 minutes and too many people.
This is for Sean. Between Revali from Breath of the Wild and Yuki Mishima from Persona 5, who is the more insufferable character?
The more insufferable character? Listen, Mishima actually grows as a person. Revali just dies.
Mishima sucks though.
Genshin Impact is almost 3 years old, and we know if the game ends, it will end supposedly for good. The question is, do you want the live service of Genshin Impact to last for 10 years or extend more than a decade? God of War, Zelda, Mario, Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy, other games are still memorable to them. And other games, though they do have long decades, they still have like a bad reputation. What do you think about that?
Yes.
I'm sorry, was the question, do I want Genshin Impact to extend beyond the 10-year calendar? No. I think all good things have to end, otherwise things start jumping the shark. That's what makes things beautiful. Just play Honkai Star Rail or something.
I mean, we all know that mobile games live exactly, they're infinite until 6 months after a Persona 5 collaboration. Next. We have 1 minute, let's go!
Okay. Hi, do you have any habits or rituals you all do before doing a recording or to get into a specific mindset for the characters you voice?
Back when I was in high school, when I was doing musical theater, I would take what is called my pre-show shit. That's my answer.
It depends on the character and the session. If I know it's going to be particularly vocally stressful, I'll usually warm up, like do vocal war exercises, like for singing and stuff like that, to make sure that I can do it safely. Other than that, I am too lazy.
I just try to stay hydrated. I don't know. I'm like a workhorse. If I've got auditions in my inbox, I can't relax until they're all done. Like, if it's in there, it's in the back of my head. I can't focus. Sometimes I end up just putting it off till the last minute because the panic makes me just make a decision and run with it. And I tend to book jobs when that happens. So, yay, ADHD, forever suffering.
Next question.
Day 3 is ending already, so I would like to ask all of you if you have a message for all of us here.
How do I bring all the adobo back home? Just all of it. Can I just fill a bag full of adobo and just bring it on the plane and just like eat? Okay.
The enthusiasm of the anime community in the Philippines is unbeatable. You guys are fantastic. It's always so exciting to meet each and every one of you. And thank you for all of your gifts. I have no idea how I'm going to bring them home. So
Please
many.
buy my wife's candles so I have space to put the gifts in.
Thank you for the chickenjoys.
Go!
So last question, which is your favorite character and character lore besides your voice characters?
It feels like deja vu. I don't know. I want to be able to play as the Abyss Mage. Just make him a playable character, man. I just want to see. I want to see a day in the life of a mook that you destroy.
Timmy.
I want to redeem the Hilly Churls. I love them, and I want to be one so bad.
And that's all for today. Thank you, everybody. Big hand for our voice actors and guests. Thank you.
All right, please line up. It's going to be 4 hours before you can leave the room.